We live in a world that tells us to always do more. Push harder, work faster, fix everything. But what if, just what if, the real secret to a better life is to stop trying so hard? It might sound lazy at first, but some of the wisest people in history believed exactly that. The ancient Taoists watched nature and realized something simple. When we force things, when we constantly interfere, we make life harder than it needs to be. So in this video, we're going to explore that idea, the power of not forcing, of moving with life instead of pushing against it. Let's talk about the Tao. There's a quote that says, "Those who stand on tiptoe can't stand firm. Those who rush ahead don't get very far." That's from Lao Tzu, one of the key figures in Taoist philosophy. Now, this might sound like poetry, but it's more than that. It's a lesson. We're constantly trying to improve, trying to become more productive, more successful, more everything. But Taoism challenges this mindset, suggests that constant striving isn't strength, it's resistance. And resistance takes us away from the natural rhythm of life. See, the Tao, meaning the way, is this ancient idea of a kind of universal flow. It's not a god, not a religion. It's just the way everything moves and balances on its own. And the Tao doesn't try, it just is. But us, we're always trying. Trying to be better, trying to look better, trying to control outcomes, trying to fix things that maybe don't need fixing at all. And in all that trying, we lose touch with something essential, the peace of simply being. Let's talk about self-improvement for a second. We read the books, we set goals, we track our sleep, our steps, our time, we optimize, we hustle, we chase. Some of that has value, but Taoism asks a tough question. What if you're already enough, but you just can't see it because you're too busy chasing improvement? When you constantly try to fix yourself, you're basically telling yourself, "I'm not okay as I am." And that can become a trap, a treadmill that never stops moving. Then there's our obsession with rules. Humans love to organize, categorize, and control. We come up with moral codes, social systems, rituals, thinking they'll bring order. But in nature, none of that exists. A tree doesn't worry about being good. A river doesn't judge the mountain for being tall. Only humans create labels and then suffer under the weight of them. According to the Tao Te Ching, 5 colors blind the eye, 5 tones deafen the ear, 5 flavors dull the taste. In other words, the more we manipulate reality to suit our preferences, the more disconnected we become from it. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The idea of Wu Wei. Wu Wei is often translated as non-action, but that doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing without forcing, acting without struggle. Think of a dancer in perfect flow, or a surfer riding a wave. They're not thinking their way through the moment. They are the moment. That's Wu Wei. Effortless action. Letting life move through you instead of trying to dominate it. And Taoism says that's the best way to live. But what about changing the world? Isn't that a good thing? It depends on how we go about it. Alan Watts, who was a modern interpreter of Taoist thought, once said that the do-gooders are the biggest troublemakers. It's not because they have bad intentions, but because they try to impose their version of good onto everything without understanding the natural order of things. And when we force change, especially from a place of moral superiority, we often end up doing more harm than good. The Zhuangzi, which is another classic Taoist text, tells the story of a man who wanted to fix a corrupt kingdom. He asked his teacher for advice, and his teacher basically said, "Don't bother. People don't want to be saved by someone who doesn't understand them." The message? Sometimes the best thing we can do is let things be, observe, support, but don't interfere unless it's truly needed. So what does all this mean for us today? It means we might be trying too hard and getting too little in return. We try to be rich, but feel empty. We try to be busy, but feel disconnected. We try to improve everything and end up exhausted. Maybe the solution isn't more effort. Maybe it's better alignment. With nature, with reality, with ourselves, instead of trying to conquer the world, we can move with it. Like a boat flowing with the river, not fighting the current. So here's the Taoist challenge for you. Can you stop forcing it? Can you let go just a little and see what happens when you stop pushing so hard? Because maybe the more you let go, the more life begins to flow through you and not around you. And that's not weakness. That's wisdom. Thanks for watching. If this gave you something to think about, or better yet, something to let go of, consider subscribing to the Paradox Engine. We share philosophy, ancient wisdom, and ideas that challenge modern life. New videos daily. And remember, the strongest person isn't the one who pushes through everything. It's the one who knows when to stop pushing it all.